Back on the Marching to Madness College Basketball Zoomcast podcast, we go into the Southern Conference once again with Wofford head coach Jay McColley. The Terriers are outscoring the opposition by 13.1 points per game. They're averaging 79 points. They're also shooting 47.5% from the field. 5-3 so far. They've won 3 out of their last 4, including a 68-65 win over Georgia on Sunday night. Coach, welcome back.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Always a pleasure. I know you had a tough loss last night against Richmond. You had 4 players in double figures. You know, that offense they run, though, is sometimes tough to figure out. It's the Princeton actions. Was that the impetus of what caused you the most problems?
Yeah, I think, number one, they're a really experienced bunch that's used to winning in the league, which is a really good league. And that coach has been there for a long time, and they've got a system, and they're married to it. And they've got a lot of older guys, grad transfers that have been in there. And then they got 3 seniors back with the extra year of COVID. So they're an experienced group that if you allow them to get comfortable, especially early on, like we did, and give them confidence, it kind of opens up not only A, B, and C, but the rest of the alphabet in their system. So we had good moments last night where we handled some things really well, and some other moments a really good team like Richmond made us pay.
Yeah. Well, if you flip back to Sunday night, you have a win over Georgia where Max Klesmit had 17 points and BJ Mack had 16. Talk a little bit about that game and how the win transpired.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought win. As you spoke on, it was by committee. We had a really, really good balanced attack. You know, we won that game not shooting our best. So we won it in kind of an unconventional way with forcing a lot of turnovers for Georgia, capitalizing off that, competing on the glass, and making our free throws at a really high rate. So to go on the road, especially an SEC opponent, to win that way was a huge confidence boost, and for our staff to show our guys that we can win in different ways this year.
I'm going to ask you this. You played at Georgia from 2002 to 2006. How does that resonate with you when you go there first and then when you win at Georgia?
Yeah, it's special. Anytime you can go back to your alma mater and see familiar faces and, get in that building where I spent a lot of hours. It was really neat for my family and I to go back there, and we don't always get a chance to go back just because in basketball season I'm busy up here. So anytime I get a chance to go in that building and obviously see friends and family and come out of there, and it was really, really special.
A quick digression here. You wouldn't be interested in a football game at 4:00 Saturday, would you?
Yeah, I think we'll be tuned in. We play Sunday, so we might schedule our practice around that. But they're obviously an incredible powerhouse at Georgia, and hopefully they can take care of business this weekend.
I will say this, defensively, it really may be the best defense I've ever seen take a field. When you're talking about holding in this day and time, and I don't want to get too much into football, but they're so good. People to 6.9 points per game and then 230 total yards.
Yeah, I'd be punting on first down for sure.
Hey, Klesmit and Mack, BJ Mack, your top 2 scorers, a really good inside-outside tandem. I'm in the Tampa Bay area here now, and I saw BJ play at USF, so I'm really happy to see him doing well for you. Talk a little bit about how they play off each other.
Yeah, obviously with BJ's size, he put a lot of work into his body in the off season, and he's just Mr. Versatile for us. He's a stat stuffer, and same with Klesmit. He's put on 10 pounds of muscle, can play the point guard, can play off the ball. So when you got 2 guys that are versatile, they're tough, they're smart, they help others on the court on both ends. They're obviously pieces that we really, really rely on. So they feed off each other. They got great instincts. They know where each other's on the floor. And obviously they're a 1-2 punch with Messiah going out for the season. Guys have had to step up in different roles, and BJ and Max have certainly done their fair share of that.
Your 3-point offense, really to no surprise, is another good one. It averages 9.2 makes per game. Ryan Larson checks in there along with Klesmit. They make 36 of the 74 made 3-point shots thus far.
Yeah, and I think that number will be balanced out as we move forward here. We got a few guys coming off injury over the summer that are still finding their sea legs a little bit. And Max and Ryan obviously got tremendous confidence in the work they put in, and they've that's been contagious around our building for a long time, with guys wanting to work, putting in the extra work before and after practice. But there's no question those guys can shoot the lights out. BJ can really, really shoot it. Obviously, we got some wings that are going to be heating up here sooner rather than later.
Yeah, Ryan, I wanted to ask about him. Talk a little bit about his efficiency with where he is. I know he's a solid quarterback out there for you.
Yeah, kind of like BJ and Max we were talking about. He's Mr. in some other areas, in that he leads our team in charges, deflections. He's always going to be around the ball. He really rebounds down for a guard his size, and he's not afraid to stick his nose in there and be, our number one defender. Usually he's guarding the best offensive player on the perimeter for the other team. So we rely on his experience, his toughness. He's Mr. Wofford. He's what we want Wofford players to be about, and he's poised to have a great senior year.
As you mentioned, Messiah Jones going out for the season with an injury. Talk about other players now who are stepping into different roles and how they're, accepting those.
Yeah, we had an interesting 1-2 punch with the lineups we had early on, with playing really big, traditional, playing some smaller lineups. Well, now we've got 8 to 10 minutes a game where we're traditionally big with Sam Godwin and BJ Mack. And Sam Godwin is a few field goal attempts away from being the second in the country in terms of the most efficient field goal percentage. He's always 6 for 8, 7 for 9. He really makes all of his layups and dunks, and he's really developing a nice post game. So he's had to step up. BJ's obviously been a force inside and out. And then we've got by committee a bunch of versatile small forwards that can play small ball or out on the perimeter for us.
As you think about that small ball offense, we talked about it in the NBA here, going the way of the 4 out and 1 in. Do you ever look at those, like, I guess, the actions they use in the NBA and adapt those? I mean, that's just something I'm curious about, because I enjoy the X's and O's of the game and how they permeate.
Yeah, I do as well. And certainly we do. And I've got friends in the NBA and, other college programs. We're constantly stealing ideas and bouncing ideas off each other to fit our particular scheme and tweak a few things that we can do in our league that's got a lot of good players, and they're all well coached. So any edge we can get to tweak some things and make our team a little bit more dangerous and potent offensively, we're going to certainly, experiment with that.
Carol and I were talking before you came on about how deep this conference is this year. And then, at the top, it doesn't seem like anybody, it seems like there are almost 5 top teams, because nobody's differentiating. I'm just curious about, since you came in as Mike Young's assistant, how you see this Southern Conference evolving, and then especially into this year.
Yeah, it just keeps getting better and better, and everybody thinks it's going to drop off, whether it's the graduating of players, changing of coaches, new NCAA transfer rules, but it just seems like it keeps getting better and better, and it's somewhat of a destination spot now for transfers and for really good coaches. So I think all of our teams are getting better in the league, and we're playing national schedules. We're invited to national tournaments. We're beating teams on national TV that, 10 years ago, you wouldn't think that would be a regular occurrence. I think we've had 5 already this preseason, non-conference. So that's something that the league continues to, I think, shine in, and it'll continue to be that way. And everybody's gearing up for conference play. And we just need to be playing our best basketball and be our most healthy.
You know, those Ken Palm analytics are really interesting. I know the last time I looked, the SoCon was number 13, I think, which there's 32 conferences for people who don't know. And
Yep.
I mean, it's right on the cusp of being in the top 1/3 in the nation.
Yeah, and last year we finished in the top 10 in the net rankings in the Ken Palm. So
Yeah.
it's a powerhouse mid-major conference, and we're hovering around the same numbers right now. And I think offensively, our conference has been in the top 5. Efficiency-wise, shooting from 3 and skill. So we're a fun style of ball to watch, I think, in our conference too. So skill and the experience going up to play some of these teams, there's a reason why we're involved in a lot of these games and having a chance to win.
2 bids, guys, 2 bids if you're listening, really. Hey, last thing before I let you go, this season's off to a roaring start. We've got so many games, like you say, that quote unquote, I guess 1 bid league teams are beating up on the multi-bid or the power conference. What are some themes you see in college basketball, and maybe some you see as a coach that like we don't see as fans or media or whatever?
Yeah, I think the game shifts constantly, with the NBA, and it trickles down, and you're seeing a lot more teams shoot more than 50% or 45% of their shots from 3. And you're starting to see some more guards and traditional post up because of all the attention the perimeter is getting. So there's a lot more threes and faster paced transition shots that you're seeing a lot of teams adopt. And then I think you're starting to see some teams like us go back in the post because there's more space, with everybody bringing that attention to the 3-point line. So it's finding that balance for us that makes us so dangerous. And as long as we take care of the ball, having the guys like BJ Mack and Sam be efficient down there and surround them with shooters, that's something that I think is really, really dangerous moving forward for our team.
Coach Jay McCauley of the Wofford Terriers, always a fun watch and a tough out. Coach, it's a pleasure having you on here, and I hope we can touch base here maybe sometime down the road as we see all of this kind of unwind or unfurl.
Well, blank and it'll be March, Ken, but I appreciate you having me on the podcast, and always enjoy being on here with you.